job, by the way. So, a lot of times when I come up on this stage, or any stage, it's you know, you're trying to be really like fire, and you're trying to really get the crowd like up. But I'm really tired, I've done a lot of poetry this week, so we're gonna like just chill, if that's okay. So like, I wanna maybe keep this on the more literary end of poetry, as opposed to, you know, the more hip-hop spoken word end, if that's okay by you. And I'd like to start by reading a poem that's not mine, but it's by this cool dude named Langston Hughes. It's called Cross. It's about biracial identity. And I might get a couple of the words wrong, but it goes, my old man's a white old man, and my old mother's black. If ever I cursed my white old man, I'd take those curses back. If ever I cursed my black old mother and wish she were in hell, I take back those evil wishes and now I wish her well. My old man died in a fine big house, my mom died in a shack. I wonder where I'm going to die, being neither white nor black. Yeah. Round of applause. The reason I wanted to share that is because my next poem is a personal adaptation of that poem. As an individual who's also biracial, it really just hit home for me, so here we go. My old man's an Arab old man. My old mom's Hispanic-ish. If ever I cursed my Arab old man, I did so with a single wish. I'd wish to spill that hummus-scented blood out from my very veins. See, growing up post 9/11, I inherited that shame. If ever I cursed my Hispanic old ma, I'd ask, why can't you make rice? You could taste the whitewashed heritage in food that was mildly spiced. See, she and I, we grew up in the suburbs, and though my skin is far from white, my Hispanic old mother would say to me, Carissa, you're American, you're white. When my old man files forms, he writes hometown, Chica. For my mom, it's just Covina. I wonder how to file my forms, being neither Arab nor Latina. Thank you. So I was told to talk a little bit about my experience with poetry and with hip hop. When I was a little one, much like some of you, I was in these RSP classes, which stood for a resource specialist program, but like everyone on the playground just called it like the really stupid people class. Yeah. So, I mean, I never thought I would amount to very much academically, but in these classes we did do a lot of creative writing. And because I was in these classes because I'm dyslexic, and when you're dyslexic, it becomes difficult to obviously to read and to write. So the doctors, they told my parents that my best shot was to read things that would rhyme. So like Shel Silverstein, Dr. Seuss, because you could, you can guess what's gonna come next when a book rhymes. So from there on out, I kind of developed this love of poetry, and I never thought that like being a poet was like a real job, but apparently it is. So, now it's something I'm actually able to pursue. And as far as the hip hop culture goes, like I grew up in like a gated community, like in the suburbs, and I never thought hip hop would ever have a place for me until I came to UC Merced and found out that if there's a place for a white dude in a suit, there's a place for a Mexican girl in a poncho. That being said, I just wanted to share with you guys this poem. It's a little bit heavy on the literary references, but I'm sure you guys are very well read in the classics, right?
Yeah,
Jeremy. The English major sips milk tea but takes her coffee black. See, it makes her feel poetic. It itches when she naps in the grass, but she's a fan of the aesthetic. The English major convinces herself that she likes reading the classics just a little bit more than she actually does, and folds their pages just because. She likes the way her cursive looks, scribbled in the margins of her Norton anthology books. And in her journal, she hoards words that aren't hers like a Tolkien literary dragon, because she is an intellectual explorer with no new land to stick her flag in. The English major paints a portrait of herself, with brushes carved from the bones of a late great Victorian, and she looks at it daily like her name is Dorian. And she likes art, likes Kahlo and Van Gogh, but she doesn't know where she's down going. And still the rowers keep on rowing, and sometimes her brain feels like tofu. She wants to be someone, but she doesn't know who. So she writes to write the right name for herself. And she can stack rhymes so high they're like Harry Potter books on a shelf. She can even do it freestyle like Dog with a House Elf. But oh, she wants prose like the prose, and poems like the Dickinsons and the Poes. The English major knows she isn't Wordsworth, but still she wonders, what are my words worth? She used to think, maybe, if my life were just a little bit harder and my heart just a little bit sadder, then my thoughts would be deep and my stories would matter. Stories would matter. So she hurt herself with each stemming day, because after all, Hemingway did say that writing is bleeding, and in the books, depression was always worth reading. But that she would learn was a little misleading, because she couldn't write, couldn't read, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't breathe, trapped in the bell jar, she couldn't leave. Until to be or not to be was no longer the question. And let's get real, there's no poetry in depression. But there is poetry in learning to play the ukulele because it's the cutest instrument. There's poetry in the candles you light, in the books you read, and in the ideas that you implement. There's poetry in wearing your camera around your neck because it makes you feel like a tourist of everyday life. There's poetry in things other than depression and strife. Thank you.